Welcome to case study number 2. Okay, so this case study is all focused on how it is that my client was making $200,000 a year and still unable to get ahead. And for some of you, you might hear that and be like, oh my God, $200,000 a year, that is so much money. If I had that, I would be so abundant, right? I would have money for anything I need. But a lot of us get caught up in this one little thing. And this is a mistake that we make that keeps us from actually having the money that we want, regardless of how much money we're actually making. So it's super simple for us to get caught up in this. So, what ends up happening for so many of us is she was making multiple six figures, right? That's a goal that so many of us have. So, what was happening is as her earnings were increasing, so were her expenses for her life. So, this is called the lifestyle creep, if you've never heard of this before. And it's basically like, let's say you get a promotion and you start making more money, you're like, oh, I deserve to have this. I'm going to upgrade this. I'm going to do this. So, let me explain how this was happening for her. So this is super common for a lot of us to where when we get a raise, our increases as a whole will expense. So when you subscribe to the lifestyle creep, your earnings are going to elevate, but so are your lifestyle expenses. So for a lot of us, when we get a raise, we'll do something like upgrade our living situation, right? You might move into a nicer house. You might upgrade your home. You might move from an apartment to a house or a condo. You might start doing a lot of renovations. We'll buy a nicer car. We'll invest in nicer clothes. We will get into spaces where we start eating at nicer restaurants. We'll start traveling. We'll buy fabulous things for our loved ones. I know a lot of people that I work with want to retire their parents, right? Or do something to help give back to the people that raise them. We go bigger during our life experiences. So if you're going to a concert, you're sitting front row, or if you're going to a sporting event, you get a box. Maybe you're having a very luxurious experience at a different hotel, or you're buying business class seat tickets on an airplane. So let me first and foremost say there is nothing wrong with indulging in this. I myself love the finer things in life, and I have no apologies to make for the spending that I do. But we have to do this from a place of intention, right? So when we get into this situation, and I want to show you how my client got here, we aren't factoring in certain things and we are spending as if our whole entire salary was ours, right? But thanks, Uncle Sam, we have things like taxes and then we have bills that we have to pay. So a lot of us will spend as if what my client was doing, this whole $200,000 was hers. But where she got into trouble is that money wasn't all hers, but she was still spending as if it was. She wasn't taking into account that after taxes were taken out, her net salary was $129,000. And she also wasn't taking into account that her life expenses, which is what I showed her, because one of the things that I do for the women that I work with is I financially audit every aspect of your life. We look at where every single dollar is going. We also do this for your time as well. We look at where every minute and every dollar is going. And when we saw this, we realized that her expenses for her life, everything that she was doing, were costing $132,000 a year. So do you see where this is becoming a problem, right? She was only netting 129, but she was spending 132,000. So this was creating a deficit of $3,000 per year, which worked out to $250 a month negative. So that was going on a credit card because she didn't have enough to actually cover her. So she was making $200,000 a year, but she was still living paycheck to paycheck and actually going negative every single month. And for a lot of us, we don't realize that it's happening because we get stuck in the illusion of, but I'm making $200,000 a year. Like I have so much money, but we're not taking into account what our life actually costs. And I find that a lot of us don't have awareness on what that number is. We don't know every single month what we're responsible for financially. Some of us are scared to look at it. Some of us are really overwhelmed by looking at the numbers. So then we get into the pattern of either avoiding looking at the numbers altogether, or we start overspending because some part of us feels, insecure. And for a lot of us, we just like unload money when we feel insecure. We're like, get rid of it because it doesn't feel safe to actually have it. So that's kind of what was happening for my client. She was getting into this space where she thought she had all this coming in, and this made her feel so good. Her self image was so strong. She was a $200,000 a year earner. But in actuality, this is why she wasn't able to get ahead and she didn't have anything to show for it. So, what we did is we actually reconciled her life expenses. We went line by line and saw what needed to change in order to put her into a place of surplus as opposed to going negative every single month. So, you have the opportunity to do that too. What you can do is you can actually add up every single dollar that you're spending and then look at what you're actually bringing home and you'll see, are you positive or are you negative? You'll see what the numbers tell you. The math doesn't lie, right? So if you need need this type of support to go deeper into this, this is something that I do inside the CAN program. So this is a 3-month experience. We actually spend a large portion of the first month on your relationship with time and money. So I used to do a lot of work for managing budgets and timelines for Fortune 500 companies. And this is now the same experience that I'm bringing to your life. So it's super fun to have somebody there who is your own personal financial analyst and your time optimizer specialist, whatever you want to call me. So if this is the support you need, let's get your time and money in check and make sure every single month you have a surplus, not that you're going negative.